Good day, I'm Rayber de Guzman, and today I will be presenting my take on the voters registration campaign for the Philippines. First and foremost, let's take a look at the overall market. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, there are 2.6 million unregistered voters in the country, with 1.7 million or roughly 65% of them coming from the 18-year-old demographic. Because of their large proportion, they will be the target demographic for this campaign. Now, with only 2 months before the deadline, it's worth asking, why are these 1.7 million still unregistered? There must be considerable gaps that hindered them from registering. I segmented the unregistered 18-year-olds based on their experienced gaps. First, we have the unaware. They have not yet registered simply because they do not know that the registration is ongoing. Second, we have the far-flung. Their main hindrance is the lack of physical access to the registration site. Lastly, we have the apathetic. Their main hindrance is a personal lack of interest in the country's political processes. Catering to them will be immensely difficult, if not futile. From the three segments, it appears that the unaware is the segment where a greater impact can be made. With an estimated size of 1 million, catering to them will easily translate to larger voters' registration numbers. I am thus selecting the unaware as the target segment for this campaign. As a representative of this segment, let's meet Jamelin. Jamelin is your typical digital savvy 18-year-old, and she just graduated from high school. Jamelin loves her high school barkada so much, and the social isolation brought by the pandemic has only strengthened her longing for her friends. As for politics, which is our main concern in this campaign, Jamelin is 50-50. She's not actively interested in the country's affairs, but she's not totally apathetic either. Like a typical teenager, what takes Jamelin is peer pressure. For most is the peer pressure from her barkada. To a broader extent, she's also affected by the peer pressure of social media trends. She wants to ride what is uso and has a fear of missing out. Analysis of the consumer profile leads us to the following consumer insight. The unaware are in a state of inertia. Politically, they won't do anything unless acted upon by external pressures. For example, peer pressure. Jamelin is not totally apathetic about the electoral process. She still possesses a slight care on the country's affairs. It's just that she doesn't actively seek to get involved. If the campaign about voters' registration didn't reach her, then she'd be unaware forever. Because she is sensitive to peer pressure, however, she always responds if her barkada is involved. If all her barkada are registered voters, she'll be compelled to register too for fear of missing out. If registering as a voter is what is uso, then she'll willingly do it. Armed with this consumer insight, I now present the big idea of my campaign. Tara Reg, Tara Barkada Voters Reg. Its key message is to make voters registration a barkada affair. This way, voters registration is packaged in the form of peer pressure, which is sure to make Jamelin's segment tick. The core activity of this campaign is the creation of a catchy Tara Reg song based on Taralets by Imago. Taralets is an upbeat song about a barkada getaway which reinforces the key message of the campaign. To increase its reach, it will be released as a single on Spotify and will be sung by a local influencer. The Taraj song will then be adopted into a TikTok dance challenge and local influencers will be tapped. In addition, the Taraj song will serve as the background music of several online video ads showing barkadas registering together as voters. Through these multi-platform activations that leverage on multiple influencers, voters registration is expected to become a trendy activity, thus putting the idea at the forefront of the target segment's mind. For the second activity, the boring and mundane Comelec Registration Center is refrained as a sentimental place. With this activation, the social isolation of Jamelin and her longing for her barkada is targeted. Here, the long lines become an avenue for the barkada to have chikahan and catch up. A photoshoot setup complete with a backdrop and props will be put in place to commemorate the rare moment in which the barkada has come together after the pandemic has struck. Lastly, the following is a timetable for the Taraj campaign. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you for listening.